Well, a story now about a plane crash that happened decades ago and about a man who shortly before his own death, many years later, discovered the wreckage and uncovered something historic about San Diego.
It was called the B36, the pride of the United States Air Force, 6 propellers facing backwards and jet engines on the end of each wing. They were huge. And all through the early 50s, you could see them flying in and out of Convair at Lindbergh Field. On the afternoon of August the 5th, 1952, people on the beach all the way from La Jolla down to Ocean Beach suddenly heard a sound in the sky. They looked up, and it was one of those big airplanes on fire. An amateur photographer snapped a picture from Pacific Beach of the trail of smoke as the plane's magnesium and aluminum parts went up in flames. Newspapers were full of stories and articles about the crash, about the crew members who bailed out safely, and the plane's pilot, Dave Franks, who did not.
He stayed at the helm trying to turn it out to sea so it wouldn't crash into Ocean Beach, Point Loma, and area.
It was one of Steve Donathan's passions during his life to try to find that underwater wreck. Steve was a tech diver. Breathing a special mix of gases, he went down to 260 feet.
And I was the one that found it.
You found it?
Yes.
After more than 50 years covered with sea life, the untrained eye can't tell the wing or fuselage, but cleaned up, there's the metal surface of what was once part of that B-36.
A piece of San Diego history.
Which at last in his life, Steve had uncovered while bringing to a close a half-century-old story about San Diego.
You know, people who were living in San Diego at that time say you could always hear the very distinctive sound that those planes made, those B-36s. Some would come to San Diego to be outfitted with 2 jet engines on each wing. And this particular plane that crashed was on its last test flight before being turned over to the Air Force. Sad to say, just a few months after he made that underwater discovery, Steve Donathan was on a diving expedition when he died. But part of his legacy is the discovery of that wreck from back in the early 1950s that so many people saw and even yet remember.